Yeah, Michael King, 2 hours ago, just tweeted, I didn't have James White and Doug Wilson becoming apologists for Talmudic Judaism on my 2025 bingo card, but here we are, I guess. Let me say something about this Talmud Israel stuff. And it is going to be mentioned in here. Whether it was in Webben stuff or Khan stuff, they basically were saying the same thing. I don't talk about Israel. Here's two books. Two books that I need for next year's work came in the mail over the holidays. Thomas A. O'Meara's Mary in Protestant and Catholic Theology. Some good stuff on Calvin and stuff in there. And Fran O'Rourke's Pseudo-Dionysius and the Metaphysics of Aquinas. This kind of stuff that I'm dealing with. Okay? These guys don't deal with stuff like this. This is not in the library. They have no idea why anyone would, because they don't deal with these areas at all. They may try to rely upon other people who do, but they're not going to do it themselves. They don't have the background. They don't have the linguistics. They don't have the background to any of it. This is where I'm having to be right now. And I don't have time. I cannot keep up with the TPUSA, Candace Owen, Charlie Kirk, conspiracy theory, all the rest of this kind of stuff. I don't have time for it. This is all going to go the way of the world very, very quickly. I'm trying to work on stuff that would actually have, meaning 20, 30 years from now, maybe, something like that. Anyway, so I don't sit here and talk about the Jews, and I don't talk about Israel. And so it's very clear that in different sectors of what's broadly called evangelicalism, there are certain borders you're not supposed to transgress. So, yeah, I understand dispensational premillennialism has a big commitment to, blessing Israel, and you see all this stuff in the, all these people that went over to Israel recently, and what's Huckabee, all the rest of this kind of stuff. I don't believe any of that stuff. Where have you ever heard me promoting that? I was raised with a lot of it, but never really to that level. But I'm not into any of that stuff. When October 8th, was it 8th? 7th, 8th, whenever that thing happened a couple of years ago. Remember, a couple of days later, I got into a lot of trouble because I sat here going, how could the most advanced society in the Middle East, with surveillance, drones, satellites, everything, and these are the people that pulled off the Hezbollah pager stuff. I mean, they had spies in the highest reaches of the Iranian government to allow us to take out those nuclear sites. I mean, these people, they've got spies in our own government. How did they get caught absolutely flat-footed right before an election that Netanyahu was going to lose? And he was going to lose it. Who's still in charge there? Netanyahu. Years later. And I raised a simple question. How could this happen? I mean, I'm sitting here going, I'm not sure about all this. I mean, I'm not over there. You see all this stuff on the news. Who knows anymore? How much of it's AI? How much of it's just a simple lie? How much of it is suppressing knowledge? I don't know. And you don't either. That's the important part. I know that I don't know. You don't know that you don't know. That's where it gets dangerous. So I don't trust Netanyahu. I don't trust the Israeli government. But the Israeli government isn't a Jewish government. Not in the sense of, it's certainly, this is not relevant to the vast majority of the Israeli government. The Israeli government is secular. I've been to Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is a secular city. The San Francisco of Israel, as far as homosexuality is concerned. So, it's a secular state. And therefore, it's going to be Israel first. And if you live in Israel and you want to be Israel first, that's up to you. By the way, if you live in the United States, you cannot be Somali first. Okay, that's just, no, wrong. That's called being a traitor. Anyway, so Do I trust Benjamin Netanyahu? No. No, I don't. He seems to have consolidated power well past when he would have been voted out. And so, what does that have to do with Gaza? It could have everything to do. It might have nothing to do. I don't know. You don't know either. Everybody's got theories. Everybody's absolutely certain about this, that, or the other thing. But I'm not one of these people that sits here and I'm not one. When I view Judaism, it has historical interest to me, especially in the formulation of the Mishnah and Talmud as to tracing the accuracy of traditions that can help us to interpret the New Testament, what traditions existed at that time. But outside of that, the book of Hebrews tells us it's passed away. It's passed away. And as development continued in it after the time of Christ, it's always development away from its Old Testament roots and its fulfillment in the Messiah Jesus. So, even when people start going, it's not Judeo-Christian, I always understood that Judeo-Christian was simply talking about the interface in the fact that we have a Bible that has two sections. The Hebrew Old Testament, and yes, it was written in Hebrew for all the Lulus that think otherwise, and the Greek New Testament, which quotes extensively from the Old Testament. And so Judeo-Christian is not a religion, it's not a mixture, it's a recognition that much of the Old Testament is repeated in the New Testament, and therefore things like, monotheism might be a Jewish concept and a Christian concept at the same time. See, this is how rational people think. This is not how conspiratorial people think. And so they see Judeo-Christian, and now that's it's a new religion. Wow. Seriously? Okay. That's just dumb. That's the only way to put it. It's just dumb. So, when I talk about the Jewish people, look, there's great argument in Romans 11 about what's being referred to when all Israel will be saved. Well, what does that mean? And there have been Reformed people that have said it's ethnic Israel. There have been Reformed people who have said it's spiritual Israel. There's Reformed people that have said it's somewhere in between, a mixture, depending. I'm not going to go to war over something like that, but I don't see. I do believe that there has been the great divorce, and natural Israel, the state of Israel. I do not for a second believe that 1948 is biblical prophecy. And that's where I disagree with Michael Brown about all this stuff. When I questioned what happened in Israel, he contacted me. He was not happy with me about that. It was one of the last times we had any contact. He was not happy with me about raising questions about what had happened there. I'm not one of these people sitting here, well, we need to bless Israel. No, I see no biblical connection, anything in Scripture, with the national state of Israel today. Nothing. So, saying I'm on the payroll of Israel or something, and then it's always, well, you did a debate, 15 years ago with Michael Brown, and Michael Brown goes to Israel, and Michael Brown does it. It's like, really? What did we debate? We defended the Trinity. Then we debated each other on Reformed theology. Then we did a debate against homosexuals, against homosexual ministers. We've debated each other more often than we've debated on the same side. But you're friends, so you just gotta hate those Jews, huh? Okay, I guess that Jew hatred thing actually sticks more than y'all would like to admit it. Actually sticks. So let me just be straightforward for everybody. Mike Huckabee is not calling my phone number. Okay? He ain't asking me for my advice. Yeah, Rich is checking the phone. Nope, nothing from Mike Huckabee. I don't believe any of that stuff. I don't even agree with the Reform people that think that there's going to be some kind of national restoration of a city, of a nation state. I don't see it. I see the church as the fulfillment. That's not replacement theology. That's fulfillment theology. I'm not getting even into that right now. I'm just simply saying, people who sit here and say these stupid things, why do you say stupid things in public? What motivates you? Why don't you have any concern for honesty, rationality, logic, truth, anything like that? It's truly astonishing to see what's going on today amongst people who, at least, if you're just some secular wacko and you don't believe there's objective truth, okay, that's your thing. But if you're honestly call yourself a Christian, then you maybe want to be thinking about this kind of stuff. I don't know.